Good morning. This is White Raptor News Ministries. I hope everybody's having a pleasant day. All praise and glory to the Supreme Spirit, the living God, Spirit of truth. There is only one truth, okay? That truth is the Supreme Creator that uses all things to His glory. Everything is used to the Supreme Creator's glory. Give praise to Him, love Him, and love the children that love Him. We are one. Blessings to you. You are my family. You are my friends. You are my brothers and sisters. I love you. Numbers 19, the water of cleansing. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, "This is a requirement of the law that the Lord has commanded. Tell the Israelites to bring you a red heifer without defect or blemish, and that it has never been under a yoke." Without defect and without blemish. Now, how many times has this been in the Bible already since we've read that the Lord is saying when you bring Him a sacrifice, it is to be without defect or blemish? Well, wasn't Jesus a blemished sacrifice by the time He got on top of that cross? Wasn't He beaten? Wasn't He placed underneath of a yoke? Didn't He have to bear His own cross? Yeah, I believe so. Okay, give it to Eleazar the priest. It is to be taken outside the camp and slaughtered in his presence. Then Eleazar the priest is to take some of the blood on its finger and sprinkle it 7 times towards the front of the tent of meetings. While he watches, the heifer is to be burned, its hide, flesh, blood, and intestines. The priest is to take some cedar wood, hyssop, and scarlet wool and throw them onto the burning heifer. After that, the priest must wash his clothes and bathe himself with water. He may then come into the camp, but he will be ceremonially unclean till evening. The man who burns it must also wash his clothes and bathe with water, and he too will be unclean till evening. A man who is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and put them in the ceremonial clean place outside the camp. They are to be kept by the Israelite community for use in the water of cleansing. It is for purification from sin. The man who gathers up the ashes of the heifer must also wash his clothes, and he too will be unclean till evening. This will be a lasting ordinance, both for the Israelites and for the foreigner residing among them. Okay, again, folks, I don't believe in any kind of sacrifice. I just don't believe that killing something and using its blood as an atonement for our sins. This is all the beginning of indoctrinations to shift into a human sacrifice. So if you think that slaughtering animals and everything is okay, then naturally you're gonna buy into the shit sandwich that a human sacrifice is okay too. And this is what I'm gathering from the Bible, is this is a slow indoctrination that sacrifice is okay. I don't believe that it is. Whoever touches a human corpse will be unclean for 7 days. They must purify themselves with the water on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day, then they will be clean. But if they do not purify themselves on the 3rd and 7th day, they will not be clean. If they fail to purify themselves after touching a human corpse, they defile the Lord's tabernacle. They must be cut off from Israel, because the water of cleansing has not been sprinkled on them. They are unclean. Their uncleanliness remains on them. So I guess the rest of your life, until you follow through and you do this. Also, how about a person that deals with death every day? I mean, shit, does that mean that he's unclean all his life? A person that puts a corpse? How about a doctor or one of those, I don't know, I can't think of the word. I know it, but I can't think of it, but they do autopsies on them. Those types of doctors that touch the dead every day, all day long, wouldn't they remain unclean their entire lives? So what does that? This is the law that applies when a person dies in a tent. Anyone who enters the tent and anyone who is in it will be unclean for 7 days, and every open container without a lid fastened on it will be unclean. That's, you know, that's just got to be dealing with some spiritual shit that's going on there, man. Right? Because there's a lot more going on behind the lines than what we understand, folks. Anyone out in the open who touches someone who has been killed with a sword, or someone who has died a natural death, or anyone who touches a human bone or a grave will be unclean for 7 days. Well, what about those that dig up bones and make furniture out of it and literally sell dead people's bones as furniture pieces, huh? What about those people, huh? I think that they'd be more than a little unclean. In fact, I think they'd be a little unsavory. Okay, for the unclean person, put some ashes from the burnt purification offerings into a jar and pour fresh water over it. Then a man who is ceremonially clean is to take some hyssop, dip it in the water, and sprinkle the tent and all the furnishings and the people who were there. He must also sprinkle anyone who has touched a human bone or a grave, or anyone who has been killed, or anyone who has died a natural death. The man who is clean is to sprinkle those who are unclean on the 3rd and 7th day, and on the 7th day he is to purify them. Those who are being cleansed must wash their clothes and bathe with water, and that evening they will be clean. But if those who are unclean do not purify themselves, they must be cut off from the community, because they have defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of the cleansing has not been sprinkled on them, and they are unclean. This is the lasting ordinance for them. The man who sprinkles the water of cleansing must also wash his clothes, and anyone who touches the water of cleansing will be unclean till evening. Anything that an unclean person touches becomes unclean, and anyone who touches it becomes unclean till evening. Okay, not a lot of anything exciting to tell inside of this chapter, other than these laws that are being set forth by who? Yahweh. Yahweh's 613 laws. Then you have the New Testament with 1,050 new laws, the laws of Jesus, the laws of Yahweh, the laws and religions of man. Okay, follow the Spirit for discernment and truth. Okay, you're not going to get complete truth from a man on this plane of existence. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. I hope you're having a beautiful day. May the Almighty be placed upon you His Spirit of truth for discernment, so that you know when I do have something to say about this Bible, that the information that I'm sharing with you is true. Okay? All praise and glory to the mighty Most High and those children that serve one God, the Supreme Spirit. Okay? Worship the Spirit. Worship the Spirit, folks. This is White Raptor News Ministries.